Aaron, thanks again for your time. It's a pleasure to speak with you, and I hope this serves you and your organization well. And the title of the podcast, I think you're aware, is "Smart to Fish Wild,"
Yeah,
which has
that's
got
great.
many different meanings. Wild trout are smarter than stock trout, so you got to be smart to fish for wild trout, and got to be smart financially to go fish for wild trout in remote locations. Anyways, so yeah, I just wanted to ask you, once again, how did you get involved with your fantastic organization?
Sure. Mark, it definitely wasn't a straight line. I was able to retire when I was 46 years old from the U.S. Army after a nearly 30-year career. And when I was getting ready to get out, I had spent an enormous amount of time in the post 9/11 war zones, right, in the Middle East. And I was older when I went, so the I wouldn't say that the effects of that experience was purely negative for myself, but I did see a lot of our younger soldiers and airmen, Marines, sailors really kind of struggle in a lot of ways, especially those who are in their late teens, early 20s, from just the exposure to the cumulative stress and trauma of those environments. And as I was getting ready to retire, I wanted to go into a second career that was not working for the government, which is a classic post-retirement job for someone who's made a career in the military, not working for a government contractor, but doing something that would help folks who I served with, and future generations of those who serve in the military to transition into healthy and purposeful civilian life. So essentially working in a veteran support role in some way. And I started with a nonprofit in New York City that lasted a couple of years. I landed at the Sierra Club Military Outdoors for about 8 years, and I was a campaign director for a military outdoors program there. But during that time, I got introduced to Guardian Revival at the very beginning of the organization's being founded. It was actually founded in 2019, but there was a pause during 2020 because of the pandemic and here, the effects here in New York. And in early 2021, I was brought in as a volunteer to help to build out some therapeutic adventure programming, including activities such as fly fishing, and really fell in love with the work. And fast forward to January, I was brought in as the CEO for the organization. It's grown a lot, and that was my path to get here. Just a second career that's more in line with serving veterans and now veterans and first responders versus continuing my career in the government.
Wow, that's incredible. On a side note, this is certainly not about me, but I was very involved. I've been very involved in the past in a program called Operation TBI, Operation Traumatic Brain Injury, out here in Colorado. It was originally run by Rocky Mountain Human Services, and now it's run by Craig Hospital. Um, but it is for military veterans that have, suffered from PTSD and TBI. And so very, very familiar on a personal level, the effects and alcohol and drugs and difficulty getting a job, et cetera, that can unfortunately create. So, and one of the reasons I got involved with it is I went through a really severe TBI accident. When I was 29 years old, I fell 30 feet and landed on cement and fractured my skull in a dozen places. So I went through a pretty healthy TBI. So I
Wow.
absolutely understand and admire what you guys do. How many people do you um how many participants are there on an annual basis?
This year we'll hit somewhere between 5 and 6,000.
Wow.
Yeah. We have a big population though, and we operate in the lower and middle Hudson Valley, which really doesn't mean much to anybody who doesn't live here. It's essentially 6 counties in New York, starting at the border with the Bronx and going up to the Catskills. In those 6 counties, it includes Westchester, which you may be familiar with. It includes about 70,000 veterans, the average age of which is 65, and somewhere between 24 and 28,000 career and volunteer first responders, and then an unknown number of former, retired, and current first responders who do not work in this area but live here, like those who commute down to New York City. So the actual number is most likely around 150,000, what I call potential clients in this area. So 5 or 6,000, we think it's a good number. It's actually our capacity. Mark, we can't do much more than that with our current staffing. And so we're limited by the number of people we have as staff and volunteers.
Hmm. So with additional fundraising and a larger operational budget, you would be able to expand. Is that
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
so? Is that the most challenging part of your new position? Is the fundraising?
Yes. Diversifying our revenue stream, revenue model, looking for those more consistent revenue opportunities and not putting so much focus on those one-time gifts. Looking at ways to do more like current budget relief versus having to create new programming or hire new staff to meet the requirements of a grant or of a gift. That's all part of our strategy, but definitely diversifying. We need to work into more public funding opportunities, in particular federal and state and local granting opportunities, and then less looking at large gifts from single donors.
Understood. If you don't mind my asking, what is your operational budget?
Uh, this year it was 3.4, and next year it'll be 3.7, and that's just for the operations. We do try to build another, say, 3/4 to 500,000 in reserve funds each year until we reach a goal of starting to build out an endowment, which is on our 5-year plan right now. So like this year, we ended up with about 750,000 in our reserve fund. And then all of our operational needs were met elsewhere. So I think it's a pretty healthy budget for a nonprofit that, the first couple of years we had 0 employees. We bootstrapped everything. We started receiving some local small donations, and now, we get some major gifts, and we've won some grant money from the state of New York. We've always been applying for federal grants. Haven't secured any of those yet, but we have hope.
Excellent. Excellent. Is that the largest percentage of your time on the job is in that arena, I would imagine?
I try to split my time between that and spending time with my program directors, helping to navigate through operational needs and priorities.
Awesome. Yeah, where do you see yourself in the organization in 5 years?
We're building out a really strong in-person presence in those 6 counties in New York, the lower middle Hudson Valley, and a little bit of overlap into Connecticut and New Jersey and into New York City, of course, just because of the structure or the structure of the population we're working with and where they live. And as we strengthen that physical presence, we still have this national presence as well through some virtual programming. For example, one of our programs is a therapeutic music program, and we provide opportunities for veterans and first responders to receive virtual music lessons from us. So that's regardless of where in the country they live. And right now we're operating in over 30 states with that program. So that's a national reach for us. We have a national reach with our peer support program, which provides some one-on-one peer support. If you're not familiar with peer support, I can define that. But virtually, we're able to support people across the country with those peer support models as well. But the majority of our work is done in the Hudson Valley. All of our in-person work is done here in the Hudson Valley. So in 5 years, we want to be positioned to make a decision about, do we stay in the Hudson Valley or do we start to expand into the New York City metro area, which is likely the case for us. But right now, the priority is really firming our systems, HR systems, financial controls, how we operate, the different partnerships we've established, how we work with the federal and state government. And that's going to take a little bit of time to really to get into place. I'm the first CEO that's hired into this position, so I took this job from the founder. And I see that as my role for the next 5 years, is to navigate that. And then I fully intend to step away and allow another visionary to step in and take the organization to the next level.
Oh, you are articulate extremely well your specific goals, and you seem intently focused on achieving absolutely everything. That's awesome.
Have a great team, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you have the opportunity to hire some of them or reorg or promote some of them?
I did. Yep, there's been some personnel changes that I was able to direct to fill some unmet needs. And I've known a lot of the staff from the beginning because we've just been working together since we started this. Most of us who work here now came into the organization as volunteers and just, out of love for the work, got to know each other.
Awesome. So outside of work, what do you enjoy most? Is fly fishing on that list?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm married. I'm 57, and between my wife and I, we have 8 adult children, 2 grandchildren. Most of them live in this area, but not all of them. So that's obviously the priority, right? Is making time for the family, being able to travel. I was just talking to my mom earlier about getting out to see her in California in the next month or so. And I take work with me when I do that, but I also try to fence off time. And I have an executive staff that's able to step in and cover down on everybody else who's there. So it works pretty good when we need to take a break from the day to day. Because this job, Mark, it's not like I'm not punching a clock, right? There's always something going on somewhere. We have people working 7 days a week in this field because we're providing a service to our veteran and first responder community, and sometimes we need to meet them when they need to be met, or we have to provide programming when they're available. So it's not just a 9 to 5 type work for anybody at the organization. So making sure we fence time off is important. I provide my staff with 30 days of paid leave every year. That's not rolled over into the next year. So we encourage them to use all 30 days. So that's a full 6 work weeks off, right? Um, and most of them do their best to use it all. I don't know of anybody who actually uses all of that vacation time, but they try to use it. And then a few other extra days off around holidays, just to give folks some time to get away from it. And you asked about what I do personally, is I think it's important that I also take advantage of that. And I have the benefit of, oh, I don't know. I think I did 3+ full years after 9/11 in the Middle East. And you can't do that level of work in our military and not have an appreciation for how to step back and kind of reset yourself. Even when you're living and working in a hostile space, you can still find ways to find some peace to be able to reflect on, you know, what are we doing today? Not thinking about what we're doing today then, and what do you read for enjoyment when you're in those environments? And you just transition that into this job, which is not stressful by any means, in my opinion. I feel blessed to have this opportunity, but I do need to step away from the work and fly fishing, kayaking, canoeing in particular, canoe tripping, um, hiking, mountain biking. Like I do all that stuff. You have a great outdoors in Colorado and the Rockies, and then here in the Hudson Valley, hundreds of miles of public trails right here at my backyard, everywhere. We live literally inside of a state park. So I feel really, the opportunities for outdoor exploration is just phenomenal. Doing that with friends and family is just the best.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. So do you feel like with your current role, are you living the life you want to live?
Think so.
Are
Yeah.
you, do you feel like, work is taken away from, really the lifestyle you would like? Or
No. No, in a lot of ways, I think that this work has allowed me to be successful after leaving the military. It's hard to have spent your entire adult life in that type of environment. I enlisted in 1987 when Ronald Reagan was president, and then I became an officer, got a commission in 1996, retired in 2014. So I was just a regular soldier, an artilleryman. Um, everything that we've ever done over the past during my time in service, I was either directly involved in or in the periphery of that involved in some way, just by chance and being during serving during that time. And what do you do when you're done with a career like that? It's not easy to just walk away from something that has had that much of an impact on not just your life but your family's life. I lost track of how many different places that my family lived, but I think the number is around 10 or 12 different areas. And then just all the years apart from each other during that time, and the effects of the cumulative stress that's involved, including the stress that you see the traumatic events and things in a combat environment. So I can't think of a better career field to get into, helping others to find peace and joy in their lives as they come out of these positions or while they're working in them still. In the case of the first responders, um, that's really very like it's an altruistic approach, right? It really helps you to appreciate everything that you have and the feelings you get when you are helping someone else navigate through difficult parts of their life or um, find some peace, get some assistance. In most cases, the stories turn out to be pretty good, and it's nice to be part of those. So I think this job, in a lot of ways, really helped me to um, be in a good place, mentally, physically, emotionally.
wow, you articulate that so well. I can relate. Helping people is wonderful, and I was blessed, growing up. My mother, who unfortunately passed about 5 years ago, but, she was head of corporate fundraising for the Children's Hospital here in Denver, Colorado. She went after all the biggest checks from, Coors and J.C. Penney and, you know, the big mining companies, etcetera, but we got to support all their events, work at all their events, and, I'll never forget one day we were, leading my sister, Lauren and I were leading the 2 poster kids in a event called Run for a Child's Sake, where people ran around Washington Park to raise money for a children's hospital, and they had Walk for a Child's Sake, and, I hope I'm not going too far down a rabbit trail here, but, Lorna's little boy was walking out very slowly and with a polio walker and, got way behind all the other kids. So we kept saying, "Hey, Nicholas, if you want to, hop in the red wagon, feel free. Andrew's in the red wagon. We'd love to help you out." He kept saying, "No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you." And then we asked him again, like halfway through, and he's like literally an hour and a half behind everybody. Like the event's supposed to end. And he just looks up at us and goes, I'm never getting in that red wagon. I don't care if it takes me a week. I'm doing this for all the other kids in the world that are in my shoes." So he said politely, "Please don't ask again." Then his mom and dad came over and we go, "Oh," they said, "Oh, we knew he'd probably do this," and then the word got out and, like literally nobody left and they all called their friends. And when he crossed the finish line, I think it was 5 hours later, the Denver Post, Rocky Mountain News, And like 5,000 people were watching him cross that line. It was so amazing. So cool.
That's a
Sorry to
great
go.
story.
Yeah, it was neat. Really meant a lot. So when and how did you first get into fly fishing?
It was after I retired, and probably about 9 years. I retired 11 years ago this month. So probably about 9 years ago, I was just starting to work at the Sierra Club. And because I was doing work in their military outdoors program, I was being exposed to a lot of other national programs that help veterans get outdoors after 9/11. So before 9/11, there were very few programs available to veterans like there are today. There's many more today, including the one that you mentioned. None of them really existed before, 2006, 7. A handful did, but the majority did not. Most of the ones I work with today who offer a therapeutic outdoor program of any kind to the military veteran community or increasingly the veteran and first responder community um, were created after we started seeing people coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan with signs and symptoms of post-traumatic stress and all the related issues that come with that. So one of those that was created is called Project Healing Waters. You may have heard of them. They
Yes.
focus on fly fishing, right? So there's a chapter of Project Healing Waters in New York City run by a gentleman named Ira Krell. Good guy. Oddly enough, still know him to this day, and saw him last just a few months ago at a fundraiser. And Ira offered me a fly rod and some rudimentary instruction because I had been asked by the Sierra Club to lead a fly fishing expedition for an entire week in Yosemite National Park at the Lamar Buffalo Ranch, which I'd never even heard of this place. But talk about a iconic, stellar experience to learn how to, my first instruction was really at Yosemite, learning how to, or excuse me, not Yosemite, Yellowstone, learning how to fish there. And uh, I was hooked. I still have the 5 weight rod that Ira gave me and the reel. I change out the line every couple of years, but otherwise it's been flawless. It's my go-to rod. It sits in the trunk of my car. Anytime I'm going somewhere, I look for a place here to stop because I live near the Beaver Kill River and
Wow.
the Catskills and all of the epic northeastern fly fishing locations. So I often find myself near a stream. Even where I live, I could almost walk to a local creek that's got some brownies in it.
Wow. Boy, am I envious living in basically downtown Denver. We're yeah, on a side note, I can send you our webpage. I founded and I'm the chairman of a fly fishing social club here in Denver called Boonfly LLC, and we do about 20 events a year. We do a social night once a month and bring in some really bright educational people in the fly fishing world and to speak. And we do about 6 or 8 group trips a year. And we also support nonprofit and conservation. Um, and one of the things, we're a sponsor of an event called Carp Slam by Denver Trout Unlimited, and their mission is to clean up the South Platte River through downtown Denver, make it a world-class fishery someday. Long, long process of getting all those polluters to agree and move, but they made a tremendous amount of progress. And we also help a developmental disability resource center, and we've just negotiated doing 6 events to take some mentally disabled adults and teach them how to fish, which we've already done one event, and it was really rewarding. Everybody had a great time.
Yeah,
My guy
that
thought
sounds.
he caught the most fish. He caught 3 fish, and I think the biggest one was about 4 inches, but he sure had a good time. It was awesome. Yeah.
I'm a
So
member of the Project Healing Waters chapter in Colorado Springs, and I was
you
just
are.
out there. I am. I was just out there over the summer fishing with them. I can't remember the name of the community we went to. It wasn't. It wasn't. I think it was. It was south of I-70. I know that, up in the mountains. But it was a private fishing ranch, if that makes sense. It had about a dozen ponds and had their own hatchery on site. Went
Huh.
up there for a couple of days.
Oh, neat. Neat. So you did your program for Sierra Club in Yellowstone National Park?
Yes, yeah. We
Wow.
had hired three local guides who were the instructors and stayed at this ranch right there in the park. I think there was about 15 or 20 veterans who joined us for that.
Amazing. God, that is so cool. I'm the same age as you. I'm 57, and I got a much later start. My kids are 20, 18, and 15. And so looking forward to grandkids someday, but hopefully not for another decade.
Yeah.
Don't want any grandkids anywhere close to now. If you know what
All
I
right,
mean.
I
Yeah, it
do.
was funny. I was a guide up in the out of the town West Yellowstone, Montana, in the summer of 1988, the summer they had that massive fire there. So did quite a bit of fishing up in Yellowstone National Park.
Then you probably know where that Buffalo Ranch is at.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
it's been so long. I can't place it in my mind right now. Huh.
Well, that was how I got hooked, Mark. And I've always carried that, that experience. If I am stressed out or I need to take a minute, I'll often find myself a place to spend a few hours on a creek or a river. And honestly, if I catch something, that's great. But the sounds of the birds and the water and all of that, the smells, it really kind of grounds you, right? And I'm sure you know that experience, what that feels like. And we incorporate fly fishing in our program here. We run a fly fishing training program and provide people rods and fly tying experience and teach river ecology and everything else that goes with it. We just finished our class this year. We're about finished with the last class this time of the year, and then we'll start the next one um, during the winter and be ready for spring when they open up the rivers around here.
That's fantastic. Do you know who runs the Project Healing Waters in Colorado Springs?
I do. I can give you his name. It's Woody Boyd. Woody Boyd, Boyd. He just took over a few months ago, 6 months ago. I get regular emails from him trying to coordinate the next set of trips for those guys. They do great work. All of the people that support Project Healing Waters in Colorado Springs are volunteers. They're all experienced and they're good teachers, they're good listeners. They're a good group to be part of. I think they're the
Really?
largest Project Healing Waters chapter in the country, actually. I know they have about 200 or 300 active veteran members.
Wow. Wow. Maybe I could get involved as a volunteer.
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to have you. They're
Yeah,
very busy. They got a lot of multi and single day events.
that'd be neat. That would be really rewarding. That'd be incredibly rewarding.